Hello, blessings and welcome. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot forecast, your energy forecast for the week of March 12th through March 19th of 2018. I'm so very grateful if you're able to hop on and join us right now. It is such a beautiful day out here in the desert, and as we may know, the clocks went forward. And for some reason, I thought that it was the thing where they go back and I would have extra time in the morning to lounge and meditate and light candles and do all sorts of stuff and journal. But no, I had to run off and go to work. Anyway, I'm so very, very grateful for all of my new subscribers. The subscribership keeps going up, 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 and I pray that all of the information I share here truly serves your path of spiritual growth, spiritual sovereignty, and well-being. And thank you everyone who checks out my weekly live stream on Thursday mornings, 4D Trinity, where we bridge fourth dimensional consciousness through the unity, through creating the unity of mind, body, and spirit. Now, I think this show is going to start to go in a slightly different direction. So stay tuned this coming up week and we'll see where it goes. My guides are just calling me to do things a little bit differently. So stay tuned and we'll see where that takes off from there. As always, if you are new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe at my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com. All of my links to all of my information is down in the Show More box. You just click that box and it'll open up for you. When you subscribe to my website, you receive a copy of my ebook, The Higher Self Blueprint of Mastery. So let's go ahead and get started. We are using, as usual, our Osho Zen Tarot, but also I was guided to bring out, remember the Voyager Tarot? We pulled a few of these a couple weeks ago, and I was guided to pull them out again for the end or the middle or wherever the guides take us into it. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll take a nice deep inhale and a nice full exhale. Bringing, we've already had some poppers. Okay. Ooh, inner voice. We are keeping that one out. Remember? We had this last week. Very important. Okay. So here we go. Let's keep going. Let's take another deep inhale and a full exhale. Just bringing ourselves into this now moment and praying a blessing over this reading this afternoon. Calling in our angels, our guides, that all of the messages that truly serve our path, every single one of us, every person who's guided to watch this, here, now, and evermore, that all of our paths be served. May we become illumined in the light of the messages shared through these cards, and may I myself sign myself into the keynote of all those viewers that I may channel and communicate in the most high love and light, the most divine messages that truly serve one and all. Okay, I'm getting to break them up into three. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're going to go from this third deck first, and we're going to pull 3 cards. You're going to help me. In the middle, okay. Ooh, intensity. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling your life becoming more intense? Oh, 2 just came out right there. So let's see. Trust. Beautiful. Look at this. Wow. Just taking that jump and trusting. And interestingly enough, stress right next to trust. The stress card. Okay, we'll be looking at these shortly. I'm going to go for that middle deck that we pulled. And let's see, we're going to draw 3. Receptivity. We had this last week, so this water theme, this intuitive, opening up the channels, clearing ourselves, creating the correct conditions within ourselves is still running. And let's see, oh, here we go. Participation, we had this last week as well. Isn't that amazing? Because I also pre-shuffled the cards before we even started, so it's just amazing how they come up over and over again. Wow, again, you cannot make this up. Look at this, turning in. So we totally had this last week as well. Now, third deck of cards, I'm guided to go from the top. Celebration, more water. Wow, and more things to celebrate. Okay, let me keep these in order. And we're going to go from the middle, sharing. Isn't that just beautiful, powerful? Fire card, vibrant goddess energy. And now one more, thunderbolt. Okay, there's those kundalini, those kundalini shocks, right? We were talking about just a couple weeks ago. And let's remind ourselves that at the very beginning, when we started shuffling, we had this card, Inner Voice. And let's take a look at this card. It is a major arcana in the Osho Zen Tarot deck. And it speaks to not only the phases of the moon, it definitely speaks to our third eye and pineal gland becoming activated and attuned. You see the small face in the third eye of this face on the card. This is your third eye waking up. This is your pineal gland saying, here I am. I am aware, I am awakened. The world no longer looks how it used to look to me, even 2-3 weeks ago. This feels really, really powerful because this is the second time coming up in a row, and it threw itself out of the shuffle there. And the dolphins. So the dolphins always speak to pranayama, to our ability to practice breathing techniques to create an altered state of consciousness for ourselves, so that what we see on the outside, right, it's always filtered through those inner filters on the inside, but so that through our altered states of consciousness and the shift of a consciousness within, that which we see and perceive on the outside is filtered through a greater realm of light, a greater realm of love, with less veils of the gravity of the world, right, having to strain all that energy through. Now, the dolphins also speak to breathing underwater. And look, we have the waters there. And it's funny, someone once said, you know, those little tiny, if you can even see them, I'm going to hold it up really close, those green herbs. Someone once said that that was the herb, that was divine marijuana. And perhaps it is. To my recall, there is no specific suggestion of what it attunes to. Yet, what I have been getting downloads of this last week has been allowing the self to be open to the invitation to participate in ceremony, right? And so maybe you don't smoke herb all the time, but perhaps you are in this phase of, remember last week we were talking with all the water energy of moving into a vision quest kind of a domain. And it feels, again, because this card just came up first and it's a major arcana, that there is an altered state of consciousness that is awaiting you. It's awaiting us, right? So that we can see things differently from how we've been viewing them for so very long. So it's not just about smoking herb, although it might be for you, but it's the ceremonial aspect. It's like there's a difference between smoking a joint and smoking a peace pipe, you know, making things ceremonial, having an intention and an offering, right? Not just like, what can I get out of this, but let me offer myself to this sacred herb. Let me offer my gifts, talents, abilities, my voice, you know, use me, use my fingers, use my voice, use my hands, use my body, you know, sacred divine source, move through me, show me how I can bridge and bring your love, your light, your art, your craft, your joy, your discipline, your devotion, your breath, right? Your prana, your life force into this world. And I know for me personally, I keep in my meditations, I keep getting to be open to the invitation to go on a mushroom journey. And it's been several years for me. And anytime that I've ever sat with those sacred aspects, right, of psilocybin, of the earth plane as medicine, it has been for ceremony. It hasn't been to party. It has been a real powerful, go to the mountains in the desert, make the fire. Everything is very conscious and ceremonial, and the gifts that it bestows. So I know I'm going off on this first card, Inner Voice, but there's a voice inside of us, right? There's a voice inside of you, but you can only hear it. We are only privy to that voice when we allow our consciousness to shift appropriately right? Again, not from a party vain space, but of a ceremonial, not only what can I receive from this sacred herb, this sacred source, this sacred medicine, but how can I then give? Show me, right? And maybe for you, it's show me what my purpose is. And let me also offer that I came across something this week that offered that that's just such an illusion to get caught on the hamster wheel of trying to find your purpose, because there is no purpose. And I know that's kind of like, woo, throwing it out to left field. But it's a meditation to just sit with that of like, you're already it. You're already being it. You're already doing it. You're just by breathing and being, you are it. Yet, if you feel you are not breathing and you are not being, then perhaps moving into, again, those pranayamas. And what is pranayama? It is an ancient science of consciously moving the breath with specific exercises through the channels, like really consciously moving energy up and down the crystalline tube. Later, when I come back and do some edits, I will put a link here to it's like 3-minute, or maybe it's an 8-minute Shushumna clearing pranayama, where we breathe. And then there's also a Kapalabhati one. Go to search on my YouTube under my meditations, and you'll find some breathing exercises. And I know I could definitely make some more of us. I could make some more of them for us. It's so powerful. And I know for me, sometimes I forget the potency of being outdoors and really doing those breathing exercises. Do them anyway. Whether you're indoors, your meditation, it's not so easy for you to get outdoors and to do that kind of a thing. But if you can get out into fresh air, good air, away from traffic and freeways and such, and really take the good deep breath, even one really superpower charged breath, that is, right, so intoxicating. And it has the potential to, again, place us in an altered state of consciousness. Anything that allows us to de-stress, which is on our top row, brings us closer to ourselves, because stress is the ego thinking that things need to change or need to be different from what they are. Stress is us playing our own trumpet. Look at this individual. They're like balancing, first of all, they're balancing on a ball that's hovering above the air. And this little monkey has a needle and he's about to poke the ball on a leash. So we hold the monkey in place, and we are scrambling here. We are juggling plates, and the candle symbolizes we are burning ourselves out, burning the candle at both ends, and we're playing our own trumpet. And we had this months ago, and this is the total thing where it's like, oh my God. And of course I have to put the Valley Girl accent on for some reason. But it's like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I have so many things to do. And it's this self-importance, and it's not a bad thing to align yourself with a sense of importance, a sense of being calibrated in lieu of your goals or your insights and the movement, right, that you create in this world. Yet when we are in a state of imbalance and not balancing all the things that we have to do with our meditations, with our breathing, with allowing ourselves to see things differently, then this is what happens, is that we forget. We forget that we're multidimensional beings, you see, when we live in the realm of stress, of fight or flight. And we come fully into the physical. And there's a density, there's a gravity to us and through us and all around us when we associate ourselves with being just a body. And that's what stress does, is it reminds us of, it validates time and that there's a lack of time. It validates, money and that there's a lack or scarcity of money. It validates that your health is other than stable. It validates that you are really important and that everything you do is very important. And when you get down into your meditations and your altered states of consciousness and your breath, and you remember then that you are not a body and everything is perfect, and there's really nothing that you need to do other than be, right? So, and I know that's kind of like, I don't know if double entendre, no, that's probably not the right thing, but it's that kind of aspect of where we can get stuck in thinking we have to be busy and doing in the world all sorts of things to have a purpose, to be valued, to be contributing to the world. I have a friend, I won't say the name, but I have a friend, you know who you are, who's in LA, and I love LA. I spent many years growing up there, and it's funny, and I may have interpreted it incorrectly, but my friend and I were texting, and he says, he's like, wow, and this, of course, this is my interpretation. He's like, wow, everybody wants to know like my story, like where I'm from, where I'm going, what I'm doing, you know, like what I'm doing here, what, you know, what am I, what are my goals? What am I? And he's like, I'm just being, I'm just going with the flow. And like, that's that aspect of, it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Where are you going? How are you going to do it? And what's going to happen? And what are your goals? And where do you see yourself? Like, blah, 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 which is great. And that's a meditation in itself, to have fun though with those aspects, and to have fun with imagining into scenarios or tapping into the heart space and letting the heart space show you through your meditation, versus your mind feeling that it has to make all this stuff up and meet it, right? And so that's where the stress comes in. And what is the opposite of the stress is this beautiful card, trust. It's a card where our emotions are just completely aligned, blessed, and balanced. And look at, this is, okay, so this is my friend in that little story I was telling you about. He's just saying, wee, right? I have no agenda. I'm just following my guidance, wee, like that's what's up. That's what's up. And that's the space of the heart. That's actually what I call living the law of vibration, right? You're just simply following the calling of your heart, and you are trusting it. And through that trust of the call of your heart, the world opens to you. You don't have to have everything figured out, yet you'll find that you are supported at every step of the way. And perhaps that lifestyle is not for everyone, and that's okay, right? Yet this week, what we're called to remember is to remember to keep trusting. And look at those arms are expanded. And look at, this is a human form, but they are flying. They are flying through the air. You are flying through the air. Now, if you go back and you watch this whole last month, and even maybe even before it with our weekly tarot card readings, we've been going through the caterpillar to the larva to the butterfly stage, and our internal energies have been changing. We've been going through massive, massive transformation, yet it has been subtle. It's been like DNA level. And if you are living in this mode, right, chances are you may not connect, you may not be sensitive to the subtle frequencies of those shifts occurring in your multidimensionality. Yet if you are plugged in, and you are saying yes to your butterfly wings and letting the winds take you, you're trusting where the winds take you without having expectations and agendas, well, this is the space of living from the heart. This is the space of, what can we even say? You know, and I've had a very deep sit with this notion, because I recently released my latest book called How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. Link is down below. It's on paperback at Amazon. And I'm reading through the book and I'm realizing like, oh, this maybe, unless there's a huge shift in consciousness, this is like, I'm not sure if this is for every single person. Perhaps it could be, and maybe it's ahead of its time, maybe it's right on time. I'm sure it's all perfect, right? No judgment, no attachment to whatever all that is. But it was funny because as I myself begin to live more the law of vibration, of not really wanting or needing anything to be different from what it is, and just simply trusting what is and opening the self to that and letting the winds carry you and just allowing energy to serve you. I allow energy to serve me. I allow money to serve me. I allow my body to serve me. I allow love and light to serve me. It is a very, very different way of living than all the things we have to do and what are we getting out of it, and how, what's your timeline, and 3D, 3D, 3D. It's a very different way of living. Yet when we let go to the heart, and we're just like, whee, you know, and we might say, you know, it's as God guides you, or as the universe guides you, as your higher self guides you, as your spirit guides, your totems guide you. But what happens is, as we get used to letting go and trusting from that space of the heart, really trusting the heart space, what happens is that we begin to calibrate on a different level. And it is interesting because on the bottom row, we have Thunderbolt, which is the only other second major arcana. And this, remember, this came up a few weeks ago. This is Kundalini. This is your Kundalini, your Sushumna, all of your channels, your nadis, your meridians, getting a shock to the system. And this is either going to bring you into a deeper space of like, oh yeah, bring it on, baby, higher voltage to take us to all those amazing places within first and without from that place. Or it's going to be like, breaker, breaker, she's breaking down, he's going to explode, he's going to, you know, self-combust. And that's why we do our practices. That's why we meditate, right? And all last week, it was all about water. And as we get into the second row, I see there's more water vibrations. So we'll get to that shortly. The third card on the top row is intensity. So again, as we learn to allow our butterfly wings to carry us, we learn to allow the winds of change to carry us. Because remember, the change card came up in our reading last week, and change is massive. This is, I know for me, it's like it came all of a sudden. I wasn't looking to change anything, but the change happened in here. There was like this, remember we were talking weeks ago about the combination codes, or like Rubik's cubes, where within you there's all these different codes and there's a certain alignment, click, 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 as we change, as timelines go on, as we grow, as we heal, as the shifting phases of the moons and the planets and all this happens. Well, what happens is we're a part of that. We're connected to it, and click, 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 click. And then something happens when it all aligns, and it locks in, woo, and something happens, right? Something different happens. And it's happening for you. It's happening for me. It's happening for everyone who recognizes it, right, within them. And for me, it was just this simple, like all of a sudden, literally one day I woke up and it was like, huh. And there were 3 things in my life that I completely was guided to do differently, and to see differently, and to respond and share in relationship differently. And it's interesting because these 3 things are very dear to my life. They're not people, they're practices, they're spiritual practices. And what I'm doing is I'm trusting it. So you are invited to trust the change that has occurred in this last week, and the change that will be continuing to occur this week, because those butterfly wings are expanding and the winds want to take you. Look at this intensity. This is a card of fire. So what happens is and look at you, this light being, the point of this arrow, right? And it's like just moving and shifting through time and space. And that's a very different, that's the elevated version of this, of stress, right? This is where we don't know how to handle all the calibration of the new light codes within us. This is where we're like going, she can't take it, Captain. I'm going to explode, right? Or I need to do more drugs or drink more alcohol or numb myself because I can't handle this. But yes, you can. Yes, you can, especially if you recognize that there's a multidimensionality to you, and that this could very possibly be happening on all of those levels of your being. Because what Spirit is calling, what your higher self is calling, if you resonate with this reading this week, is this activation where you are going to be moving forward quite quickly and quite intensely. So there may be a sense where you feel that nothing much is happening, right? You're showing up, you're following your guidance, you have no agenda, you're just there bringing love, being light, and receiving, abundant love in return. And it's a beautiful thing. And you're learning how to trust that, trust your heart, trust yourself. Well, this card, Intensity, is showing us that this week, as we continue letting go, that wind is going to whip up. It's going to kick up, and it's going to move our sails, our butterfly wings. It's going to move us into a different direction. Ooh, I feel this different direction for us. Oh, wow. I don't know what it's about yet, but this is everything that you already do, everything that you already have, everything that you already are. And it's going to allow all of those capacities, all of those abilities to be utilized in a new way, in a way that they haven't been utilized yet. Let me just have a look at the board here. OMG, is that today? You know what, Will? I'm not sure what that's in reference to. If you want to drop me a line, we'll see. But this reading is for March 12th, which begins tomorrow, through March 19th. So just as a reminder, I'm just doing it live stream today because it's a beautiful afternoon. And you know, I love doing these readings live stream because doing them on the iMovie and then having to edit them and go back and go back and go back is time consuming. And in this way, we get to be live. If you're online and you hop on in the comments, we get to chat a little bit. And it feels good. It feels fun for me to do it. And I like having fun. So also, if you are on Instagram, my handle is down in the description box, in the show more box. And I create little 1 minute, I post about 3 1-minute highlight segments of our tarot reading every week on my Instagram, so you can be reminded of some of these highlights. So, winds of change want to move us in a new direction that has everything to do with what you already do, who you already are, yet it's like we've been gradually on this stepping stone. We've been moving, right? Or no, we've been allowing ourselves to be moved. And now, since we're trusting and we're showing, we're like getting to know how to use these new wings of ours. And as we unfurl and we just trust them and we really just relax into it, what happens is that wind kicks up speed and we're taken quicker, farther, further. I'm getting instantaneous. I'm getting divine appointment, of course, and I'm getting, the holy instant. I'm getting the holy instant where you are completely, you know what? You're prepared. You are prepared and you are organized. And where you are organized and prepared and you are invited to show up and you do show up, then that's when opportunity rises. Hey, is that Christine? I think that's Christine. Oh, time change. Yes, time change blessings. I know, right, Will? Christine, hello, darling. Nice to have you here. Okay, so we are talking about this intensity, trusting, moving, and transforming stress, right, into our ability to hold these new energies, because the new energies coming in are massive. They are massive. And I know for me, my guides were like, look, we know you love wine. Yet what's important for you, talking about myself, my guides talking to me, is to relinquish drinking wine for 30 days. Just give yourself a break. Have a little detox here and allow the system to cleanse and recalibrate. And so I am, and it's a beautiful thing. And I recognize this. And when your guides offer you to do something like this, it's because these Kundalini shocks are coming in. And if you're all clogged up, if you're all gunged up and you're not doing your Reiki and you're not taking your Epsom salt baths, or you're not removing yourself from, things where you feel there's toxicity, whether it's work or relationships or whatever, when you are not exiting consciously those situations and creating the correct conditions for you to remember that you are one with spirit, to remember that you are divinely connected to love and light, well, all the channels, right, get gunged up, they get tarred up. And so when the Kundalini hits, when those shocks of Kundalini come, which you don't have to be sitting in meditation for them to come. You don't even have to be sober for them to come. You don't have to be drugless for them to come. I mean, if they're ready to come and activate through you, ba-boom, they're going to come and they're going to hit. And the point here is the clearer we are, through our meditation, through our breathing practices, through our baths, through our vision quest, through whatever it is that Spirit calls us to help us center and align, the clearer we are, the more that those Kundalini shocks are gonna feel good. They're gonna feel good rather than frightening. So we want to keep that in mind, because we are taking off. We are taking off this week, March 12th through March 19th. New horizons abound. And it's interesting. So on this second row, we have 3 cards, and 1 card on either side are water cards, cards of the emotions, and the card in the middle is a fire card, participation. Now, because this is a fire card and we have this theme with stress, intensity, and now participation, this is also showing us that this is a very, very important time for you to get to participate in those aspects of life where you feel called. And see, it's this fine line of being present, of listening, of attuning to what your call is. So I call this in my book, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration, I call this following the truth of your heart, right? But it's like the call of your love boat, right? So there's a boat and it's leaving port, and it's like, and it's calling your name. And it's calling your name. And we all have these little things inside of us, right? At times you might recognize them more than others, but it's the call of your boat. And it's saying like, hey, Chris, hey, Will, hey, everybody watching, your guidance right now is to go for that boat. Go run for it. I know you've only got 5 minutes to make it, but go, grab your jacket, grab your shoes, and go. Make that phone call, jump through the hoop. A vortex is open. Okay, this is what I'm getting. Through our trusting and through this intensity activation and our surrendering and releasing to it, it creates a vortex. And a vortex is opening through which we can pass through. And why do we want to pass through? Well, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but it's an invitation for, again, us to experience an altered state of consciousness. And ultimately, the consciousness that is of this earth is not real. It's not the truth. And when I speak to, I'm speaking about anything and everything that is based in fear or limitation or lack, violence, greed, all that stuff. It's not real. And we have an opportunity, even if you feel ascended, even if you feel like, well, I meditate every day, I pray, I'm doing my work, I do my Reiki or whatever it is. There's always more. There's deeper and deeper layers of you. There's deeper and deeper layers for us to tap into, to continue to unravel the truths that are really untruths that have been wrapped around us. And we do that by participating, right, in our path. We do that by trusting what our divine guidance is, coming back to that basic thing of like, well, I don't really know. I don't have an agenda. I'm just trusting. I'm opening my arms. I'm open and ready and willing to receive all the blessings. And I bless everyone and everything. And thank you, thank you. I give thanks by following the call of your boat. So what does your boat say? Does your boat say, move to Michigan? Does your boat say, paint that idea, that picture that keeps coming into your mind? Like, actually make space to pull out your paintbrushes that are in a box under the cupboard, probably all dusty, buy a new pack of paints, make time to tap into spirit in that way. Maybe your divine boat is saying to book that vacation, whatever it might be. It could be different for all of us, yet there's something there for us. And see, the thing about following the call of your boat is that it doesn't matter if you get that boat. So even if you it's 5 minutes to get that boat, grab your shoes, grab your jacket and run, right? And so you jam it and you're going for the boat, but you miss the boat. Oh my gosh. The fact is you haven't missed the boat, because the initiation is, were you going to grab your jacket, your shoes, and go for it? Were you gonna go for it? Were you going to honor? Are you, this week, are you going to honor the call of your boat? What is the call of your boat? And in this instance, it's the truth in your heart. You are invited this week to participate fully. north, east, south, and west, above, below, within, mind, body, spirit, emotions, every part of you. You are invited to participate in what that call is. So this is using our metaphysical, multidimensional consciousness in relationship with energy here on this earth plane and in this universe to co-create the correct conditions for the Most High to come about. So on one hand, we could think about it as manifesting, but also we are not co-creating in order to bring about a certain circumstance. So how can I clarify this? I can clarify this by saying that it's knowing what is your calling. What is your boat saying? What is it luring you? That truth in your heart to move forward or move towards, right, in your life. And it's participating in it by your speech, by how you speak over that aspect in your life. It's how you internally have the dialogue through the thoughts in your mind that you say to yourself about that situation, that event, that opportunity, that proposition, that relationship. It's how you and what energy you bring to the table when you show up in the 3D for it, right? There are many different layers and levels. What emotional space are you holding as you participate in the truth, right? Are you thinking that, are you thinking too highly of yourself? You know, in a way, and again, yes, I think it's important, confidence, because self-doubt is a MF, and we don't need self-doubt, right? We don't need self-hate or any of that tar buddy stuff. Absolutely, to be confident, to relax in your purity and the blessing that you are and in your divine connection with source, and to just be that absolutely is powerful. Yet what we are doing is we are participating consciously and creating the correct conditions through our mind, through our speech, through our bodily actions, right, and reactions, and through the energy we bring into any given circumstance specific to it, so that we nourish and nurture those gifts, that call of the boat. I pray that makes sense. I pray that makes sense. And let me just read here in the comments a little bit. Looking ravishing, it's me. Yes, blessings, Christine. Blessings, girl. So I pray that makes sense, right? So a few weeks ago in a tarot reading, I remember I was referring to myself as being Grumple-Stiltskin. And I think that's what I'm talking about here, where it's like, you know what your spirit, your soul is calling, you know what your boat is like, wah, wah, come on, get on the boat, you know, move in this direction. Because again, you may not get the boat, but it's your energy of moving towards that and who you might bump into along the way. Maybe that's your divine appointment rather than getting the boat, but it's listening to that intuition. That is the practice. But I was Grumple-Stiltskin. I knew what my guidance was. I knew what my boat was calling. I knew what my higher self was saying, but I was like, I was so stressed out and I was so overwhelmed, and really because I was thinking too much, and I made the whole scenario and situation much bigger and much more important than it was, than it needed to be, right? Because again, we can move in the realm of this stress, fight or flight, or we can open and we can trust and we can bless and we can say, okay, how may I serve? How may I serve? Right? I remember once going to a winter retreat. Swami Origami is here. I remember going to a winter retreat once, and it was a beautiful retreat, lovely people, and there was a fire pit at the end, and everyone was asking in the fire, asking questions to their guides, to the universe, to their angels, and asking, you know, like, when is my pain going to be over? How much longer do I need to go through this financial circumstance? When is my health going to improve? You know, there were questions like this they were asking into the fire. And I didn't have any questions like that. The only question that I kept asking internally and then once or twice outside of myself was, how can I help? How can I help? And it's a very different shift, right? Moving away from this, where it's all about me. And granted, yeah, you might have a health concern and you're like, honey, when is this health thing going to be over? When am I going to be paying my bills? I mean, I get it. There's a 3D reality, but this week we are put in tune with our multidimensional self, and to activate, to calibrate it by trusting it, trusting your call and participating consciously. And again, these two water cards, either side of participation, receptivity and turning in. Water, 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 water. You know, remember last week we had these cards and we had the inner voice card, and it was all about putting yourself on purpose in a body of water. Maybe it's a swimming pool. Maybe it was an Epsom bath. Maybe it was an ocean or a lake. But it was something about, especially like a still kind of a water, of just being in that reflective mode and visualizing from that space of being in that water, visualizing, you know, basically, well, we were talking about vacations or where you would like to be in the world, like just to have fun with the notion without any attachment, but like to be in your body of water, maybe it's your bathtub, to visualize that you are there, say on the beach in Costa Rica, you're surfing, and from that version of yourself in Costa Rica to then vision quest from that space. And I don't know, did you do it? Did you vision quest? I know I did it twice. I actually took myself to the springs up here. I live in the desert, and there are little mineral spring areas, and I went for a whole day. I treated myself, and I soaked, and I soaked, and I laid in the sun, and I got into the still pool when there was like everyone, it was lunch and all the kids, and like there were kids and families and stuff there. It wasn't too packed though, it was nice, but there was lunch and everyone was indoors, so I had the whole pool to myself, and the water was just so still, and it's all, even the pool is natural spring water. So good, so good. And then the second one is I did an Epsom salt bath with all the crystals and with rose petals. And I voyeured, you know, we're called to voyeur. And the voyage is not over yet. Altered states of consciousness, creating the correct conditions within us to tap into our emotional stability. Because, you know, when this happens, when stress is given the rite of passage and given rule, it absolutely and instantly affects our emotional navigation system. It affects our ability to be calm. I mean, biochemically, it's proven. Fight or flight versus rest and digest. The parasympathetic is your rest and digest. No, pardon me. Parasympathetic. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm totally confused now. Somebody tell me quick. Okay, so we have parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. I believe the parasympathetic is rest and digest, and the sympathetic is when we are in fight or flight. But these are like medical terms that are diagnosed within us, and we're either running on one or the other. And we know when a car screeches behind us, we get the little spritz, our adrenalines spritz like that cortisol. Right? The stress, the fight or flight thing. And we go, and you might even get a little hot flash and you're like, whoo, oh my God, that was close. And it takes you like a minute sometimes, or 2 or 3, to like come back down and to be like, oh, that was a close call. Okay, let me be careful. Let me check my rearview mirrors or whatever it is. But sometimes we get used to living in that realm all the time. Can you imagine? We get used to the feeling of stress, the feeling of fight or flight, and then we kind of get into it, and then we're like, let me have some more caffeine, let me have some more things in my diet that's going to aggravate and keep me on that edge, right? But it ages us, it totally deteriorates our organs, right? The sheathing that coats our central nervous system, it eats us from the inside out. We don't need to go on that path. What we get to do is we get to remember that we are multidimensional. We get to remember to consciously place love on ourselves, in our minds, on our tongue, or else, honey child, hold your tongue and don't say it if it's not going to uplift, if it's not going to uplift, if it's not going to provide anything that's going to be of service to you or those around you in your environment. Best to hold your tongue. Turning in Meditate, 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 meditate. I know a few weeks ago, when I was going through this thing, and I had a huge chunk of tar body coming up that was resisting those butterfly wings unfurling. I went through a 2-week period where I didn't meditate that much. And I'm like a daily meditator, sometimes even a twice a day, right? With pit stops of little like 1 minute, like just silent meditations in between. And for 2 weeks, I was like, I'm not doing anything that, that serves my spirit. I was just all gunged up, all thinking stress, 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 ego, 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 importance, importance. And I tell you, it really messed with me. And it allowed those heavier, denser, gravitational grids of thought, of word, of feeling to come in and really cock block the love, cock block the light, the joy, the peace, the health, the happiness, just the easiness, just the ease of experiencing life through the perceptual lenses of love and light, with the light sight turned on. So keep your light sight turned on, because those voices in your head, look at all those voices, they're either gonna doom and gloom you and take you off track, or you're gonna maintain your center, you're gonna turn in, and you're gonna keep those emotional waters within you balanced, activated. And by doing that, all of those channels of receptivity awaken within you and become flushed, cleansed, cleared with light. Whether you're male or female, your feminine, your divine feminine energies calibrate. And what did I hear like just last night? Someone said it. As the divine feminine ascends, the divine masculine also ascends. And I feel like I'm missing something there with what I actually heard, but isn't that beautiful? And we have both of those qualities within us. Yet this week, what it's about first and foremost is clarifying those waters within, the emotional waters. Remember, your emotions are also your intuition. And when you're stressed, honey child, when you're like fight or flight and you're like, can't think, and your body's boiling and you're like, frustrated, impatient and all that stuff, or just really stressed due to fear and lack and scarcity, your intuitive, natural ability to attune to source, to attune to your higher self, to that love channel within you, gets staticky. And so your ability to receive those messages and be receptive, right, become blocked. So keep clear and open. Our last 3 cards on the bottom are so powerful. So as we get used to participating, we get used to blessing everyone, everything, everywhere, saying yes to the call of our boat and going for it and trusting it. All the love and light in the universe calibrates with us and becomes the wind beneath our sails. We begin to find momentum, and we begin to find that really the truth is just sharing your truth. That's how we expend our energy. That's how we allow our energy to be used efficiently, by us sharing our light. And whether it's literally you just saying, I am love, I am light, and wherever I go, I am love, I am light. I mean, that is so powerful. And if it's just as simple as that, it's actually simple and potent, infinitely potent. So this week, it's about sharing your love, sharing your light. And look at this beautiful platter of fruits, of gifts, of offerings that this goddess has. And this is about all of us being the goddess. Look at her aura. This is prosperity consciousness. This is abundance of all things good, healthy, that serve your higher self, your well-being of your light body. This is all things serving itself. This is you participating in your life fully and saying, basically, every time we show up and we place our word of love over an aspect in our life, we consciously align our thoughts in those aspects of love and of light over our life. All we're doing is we're placing our order in the cosmic kitchen, and what we send out returns to us multiplied. And then all of a sudden we have more to share, more to give, more to share. And that's what your work is. But it's this allowing it to flow through us so we don't get energetically constipated. Remember, we don't want to be gunked up, right? And clogged up. We want our channels to be free and flowing, because more Kundalini shocks are coming, more transmissions of light energy. And look at these two people fleeing from the tower, right? These Kundalini shocks could very easily just be the end of certain relationships, the end of certain people, places, and things in your life where you're like, you know what? I am done. I am over it. Closing that chapter. Blessings and namaste. It could be the end, again, of a romantic relationship, the end of a working situation, the end of a habit, a pattern, a way of thinking, an addiction, whatever it is. But things are coming to an end because more light. This is a major arcana. Thunderbolt, more light is coming into your body. Your body wants to be, your body is ready to acclimate and to be initiated into its light self. So there is the light body. That is the blueprint of your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual body as it lays over one another, right? All of those bodies layered over one another. And it's the channels that connect one body to the other body being plugged in to the next body and the next body, but being plugged in through channels of love and light. Now we have, it is said that everyone has cancer cells in their body. We also have healthy, right, perfect cells in our body. We have some DNA that are a little, right, genetically, that keep rewiring themselves with old programs. But we also have brand spanking new DNA. We all have like perfectly healthy, ripe and ready DNA, right, to be recalibrated to bring us greater health. And it's our thoughts. Ooh, hello. It's our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, yes, our diet, yes, the pollution, yes, the schemes in the greater whole of the world, but ultimately it's what the chemistry we create within ourselves that's either going to feed and nourish the cancer cells or keep repeating the genetics of our DNA to recreate those, there's like a specific word and I can't get it right now. Those, when the DNA replicate, and if they keep going into, all they do is they keep replicating exactly what you've been creating in your body, right? The circumstances, the diet, the environments within you. And if that's allowed to stay the same, then the DNA is just going to keep repeating, and it's going to create more and more of the damaged DNA cells. And your body's going to think, okay, we got this, we got this. But as we change our diet, we change the way we think, we change the way we speak, right? It has the power to shape shift and really activate the light within the DNA to become calibrated. So why am I going into all this? Because we're being hit with Kundalini this week, big time. So prepare, batten down the hatches, get your meditation on and get ready to receive, because it can be a beautiful, beautiful thing. It does not have to be a heavy, heavy thing. It might be, we'll see. It's okay, whatever it is. Yet remembering that the more that we meditate, the more that we are conscious, if your higher self is saying like, you need to detox, honey child, for like a week off coffee or go off weed for a month, or it could be one day, it could be an afternoon. You could even just be like observing silence for a week or 2 hours, whatever it is. But if your higher self is inviting you to the initiation, to participate in an exercise in that way, in that fashion that allows you to show up in a new way, to get to know who you are. If you're used to drinking a lot of coffee every day and you go off of coffee for even a week, that creates an altered state of consciousness. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about not doing things in the same way that we've been doing them over and over again, so that we keep repeating and keep creating those same DNAs and those same experiences and those same circumstances. No, we're talking about participating consciously from a place of the heart, trusting fully these new butterfly wings, and trusting the winds of change, trusting that which we cannot control, to guide us, to show us, to serve us. I allow energy to serve me. I allow love and light to serve me. I allow money to serve me. I allow my family, my friends, my work colleagues to serve me in the highest, most divine ways with no attachments on what that looks like or how that needs to show up. Last card we end on is celebration. This is amazing. So this shows us that we got this. We can do it. We got this. Here we go. We're in, we're on, we're all about it. Celebration, celebration. This is you coming full circle into, this is you doing the work this week. This is you, I feel like this is you going home back to yourself. This is you returning. It's like this whole week is this like the flight of the butterfly thing where we're like, the call of the boat is calling and the kundalini is coming, but I need to be still and I definitely need to meditate. But there's an opportunity where I can get really stressed out about this because the kundalini is rising, but I'm gonna create the correct conditions within my channel so that I can breathe, I can be calm, I can ground it. I'm going to participate, I'm going to be mindful, And it's like all these things in this 1 week is going to be happening. And we can either go in one direction or the other direction. But since this is our final card of this reading, this is showing that we are able and capable of taking the high road, of speaking the high word, of blessing ourselves, of trusting our paths. And actually, by the time we get home, it's like a party. It's like a celebration. It's like, woo, coming home to yourself, spending time with those loved ones, with people that you love and you appreciate, where you can just fully be your authentic, integral self and enjoying and celebrating what has come without it having to be a medal or an award or, see, this is what I'm saying is we're moving away from these third dimensional validations, and we're understanding more these subtle realms of validation. Am I all askew here? I just looked in the little video. Okay. And what we're realizing is the feel good factor that becomes generated through us following the call of our boat and showing up in love and light and doing our practices is priceless. There's no medal, there's no award, there's no thing third dimensionally that can touch it, that can match it, because it's that out of sight, right? It's insight though with our third eye. So let's go ahead, because I know this is going on and I want to allow you to have your day. We're almost at an hour here. We're going to pull one card from the Voyager Tarot deck. I love this deck. Sometimes we are called to use it. Let's take a breath. Breathing in and out. And if there are any questions about any of the reading we just did, please drop a little line in the comment box. I'm happy to expand. But in the meantime, we'll give these Voyager cards. Woo! We had a popper. Let's see what we got. Two of Wands. Two of Wands. Wow, I need to put my glasses on. Look at this. This is a lotus leaf. There's like footsteps in the sand. Is that a stack of dynamite or a candle in a window? Woo, is that a snake? Okay. Two of Wands. And then we'll let you go. It is a snake. Woo! Okay. Oh, it's purity. Isn't that beautiful? Purity. And that's where we're going. All of this water. Water, water, water. Drink plenty of water. Let your system be clear, be flushed, especially, that's what we always do. A lot of us watching this are Reiki facilitators. And when we do Reiki with ourselves or we share it with others, always the guidance is to extend water, right? To ground, to clear, to acknowledge that frequency of energy that we've just pulled through us or allowed to draw through us and extend out. And water, remember, creates the correct conditions for electricity to run, for electricity to move. And in a lot of ways, Reiki is electricity. Kundalini is electricity. And let me stop speaking here so I can find. Okay, Two of Wands, purity. White candlelight is symbolic of purity. Like the untainted white snow and the impeccable white lotus, you are clean of character impurities. Purity as the natural light of the candle means being authentic and natural. Be true to yourself without the contamination of outside conditioning. White light The crystals, the window, and lotus reflection represent purity of perception. See things as they really are. Unhampered by prejudicial preconceptions. Pure white energy means living without artificial stimulants, chemicals, and drugs. Oh my gosh, that totally speaks to where we were going earlier. Pure, you are a window to others for seeing their path. Be a guiding light. You know, this is interesting because I was telling you that I was texting with a friend this week, and speaking about like this purpose and following your heart and where everything's going and outcomes or potential, you know, possibilities. There was a sense of, I remember I texted him and I was like, to a fashion, just saying something like, you know, maybe we're just here to hold space for others. You know, if there is some sort of a purpose. And I think if we do have an identification with purpose, that it can click and change and shift and shapeshift and expand and contract and all that stuff. But this card really speaks to that of again, all of our water cards being pure, cleansing, right? Listening to your higher self. It's spring. It's going to be the spring equinox this week. Or is it autumnal? No, it's the spring. Is it the equinox or is it the solstice? I think it is the equinox. Anyway, it's a big deal. We're shifting, right? Our bodies are shifting. Maybe it's time for a spring cleanse, a detox of some sort. 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, a week, 4 weeks. If your higher self calls it, allow yourself to explore that. Create the correct conditions for altered states of consciousness, because the world is ready to look different to those who are willing to see things different. You're ready. Shoo! Everything that you've been gifted, all of the blessings that you bring to this earth are not going to waste. Keep utilizing them, keep expanding, keep blessing yourself, others, and those gifts. And again, how can I serve? How can I share? How can I heal myself and others? How can I help? How can I hold space? So thank you everyone for watching, for being here. I send my love and my light. Thank you so much for subscribing. And again, go to my website, link is down below, and subscribe to my monthly newsletter, which is really called a love letter, with so much love and so many blessings. Namaste.